I just got back from Toastmasters, which meeting went really well. I believe there were only 7 people there, but it's amazing. If you have a really solid, engaging 7 people, meeting can be really good. So it went really well. And I'm just getting ready to work again, but I have a few minutes. Not really a free time. I have a bunch of stuff to do, but figured I would shoot a video. This split shift, I'm working from really consistently 5 to 8 a.m. and then 8 to 11 p.m., but sometimes an hour tacked on to either, so about 5 to 8 or 9 a.m. and 8 to 11 or 12 p.m. And it is kicking my ass. I think I've been on it between 1 and 2 weeks, somewhere a little over a week, a little less than 2 weeks. And wow, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I was sleeping. I basically had to sleep because I wouldn't stay awake for 16 hours a day. And now I've tried to reduce that down to about 8 or 9, and I'm not sure it's tenable. And we know that my health is rather tenuous, pretty finicky, and it doesn't seem to be maintaining properly, which is super scary because we know when my health decreases, my mind decreases relatively fast. It's not good. My hormones get thrown off, everything goes out of whack, and I don't recover well at all. So that's a bit scary, but don't have a lot of options. I basically don't have any. I mean, come up with some options, but it's a stretch. I don't have any good options as jobs because I can't take any job where I have to walk, and I basically can't take any job that I have to drive to because the impact of walking or the impact of driving throws off my spine, my cervical spine, so it messes it up. So I really can't do it. So I have to work on this computer. And a lot of the stuff online is so competitive with everyone from around the world that the pay isn't very high. Like writing, for example, I could write those 1,000-word articles, and I was getting paid $5 each. But I mean, that's a lot. You crank out a lot of words per day and not get very much money. So you could be like one of the most productive writers in the world and barely be scraping by. And it was less consistent than the teaching. So I get between one company I get $12 an hour, but the company I work for a lot more, I get $16 an hour, and I don't perfectly fill up my time, so it doesn't work out exactly right. But I have to get the money because I'm just barely making my bills meet, or I'm not really quite making my bills meet. I mean, my computer, which is how I make money, is held together with electrical tape. My stitches on my shoes are blown out, and I've already had them stitched, repaired, they've blown out again. And my car, the brakes were out of my car for 2 days. I had to drive without brakes for 2 days. And, well, it was actually like 4 days it was out, but I had to drive 2 of the days. And it's hard to get by living in Twin Lake without a car to get places. And the shoes thing, I have some other shoes that I could wear, so that's not a huge deal. The computer I'm definitely going to need. So I have bills coming up, and I have taxes that I'm going to have to pay because I don't have an employer taking the taxes out, so I'm going to have to report those. I'm definitely going to have to pay something on those. And I have about 3 more months to go. I have 3 more months to go on one medical bill that I've been paying on for 2 years, but that's my smallest one. It only takes off $60 a month, so it's a major issue. Anyway, I've really been working on priorities because now my time's getting so tight. I have to have tight priorities. It's not like I had a ton of time before, and a lot of my free time. There isn't really such a thing as free time so much, but anyway, my so-called free time before was kind of this really low energy state. I didn't do much or accomplish much in that time because I don't function great all the time. Now I kind of need to, which is crazy. I'm not sure if I actually can, and it's not looking extremely positive over this week, but I've built up some health, and I'm still fighting the curvature in the spine thing. I'm making progress there. I found some exercises that really help, and bent press basically has really helped with the curvature of the spine thing a lot. And I've tried to lay out priorities number one has to be income, because I'm not making it. Without money, you can't survive. And as part of that, health and personality have to go in there. I've got aspects of my personality that are insanely holding me back. I mean, I've had a bunch of huge opportunities, and I've let them slip through my fingers. And then my health, obviously, as soon as my health deteriorates, then everything else falls apart, basically. My ability to do things falls apart, so that's basically everything. And then the MAT, which is the Miller Analogies Test, which is the IQ test I'm taking in March, is a really high priority for me. And it's really just high priority for myself, but like emotionally, it's really high priority for me because I had a really high IQ, you know, maybe high 130s, maybe 140 on the border of it, and I dropped way down. And I mean, up there you're talking 99th percentile or above 99th percentile somewhere, and I dropped way down, and I'm not sure how far down. I didn't actually test the IQ stuff. I was doing memory tests, and my memory tests were coming back bad. Really bad. I could only remember a couple of things in a row, not very good at all. And so, I mean, maybe I had an average IQ like 100, something like that, maybe below. It was not good. It was a loss of a huge amount. And I've slowly built back up. And now it looks like I'm testing in the 130s again. And I take a practice IQ test, a short one, like 50 questions, every morning. I got some books on those, and I've been doing that for a while, and I score somewhere between 74% and 86% on the test, which is good, which is really good. It puts me about in the 98th to 99th percentile, so top 1-2%, which to get into Mensa, the High IQ Society, you have to be top 2%. And I really want to make it to kind of prove to myself that I've neurologically recovered. Oddly enough, now I'm putting a bunch of strain on myself, and we'll see how well it maintains. But I'm going to pull out of the one Toastmasters group on Monday in Montague over the next month. So, because I can't just say I'm going to leave all of a sudden right away. It's just kind of disrespectful. So at the end of February, I'm going to pull out of that one and make the adjustment there. And then next is writing, right? So I have income with health and personality as part of it. And then the IQ test, the MAT, Miller's Analogy test. And then next is writing, and I'm barely getting to writing. I mean, maybe a couple hundred words a day. I'm just barely squeezing in. And then what I've done, and this is hard for me, I've put reading as like a subcategory of writing in priority. So unless I write, I can't read. And so even though I've written a little bit today and yesterday, I haven't written very much. So I haven't even made it to reading for the last 2 days, which is just insane to me. I mean, that wants me, right? It makes me inarticulate. Makes me insane. There's not very many days in my life when I haven't read part of a book. I mean, even when I was sick in Africa, I had this little tiny pocket Bible that I'd shoved in my bag. And even when I was sick, now some of the days in there I was hallucinating and stuff. I'm not sure. A day might have passed in there without me reading from it. But I believe every day I at least got in like one page. And still got that little tiny Bible and read one page. But not extremely confident in my time frame there because I was a bit out of my mind. But it's insane. So I haven't read for 2 days, and it's a weird experience. I have a really strong compulsion to read, which is why I put writing above it. So now I have to write before I can read, and I've gotten in a few hundred words over the last couple of days, even though I've been so tight on time and energy. I mean, you really can't tell it in the video, but my eyes hurt. They want to close, and I tried to sleep today. The reason I'm pulling out of the Toastmasters meeting is because right in the time block when I should be sleeping in the split shift, and that's just messing me up. I got to work in 10 minutes or 2. And these opportunities I've let slip through my life. So I mentioned that at Toastmasters to the one guy, I announced it to everyone at the end of the meeting. And the one guy, John, he came up to me, he's like, "Oh, you're so smart. I thought you would have been making money," because I was saying not not exactly making my bills. Might default. I probably will default on the one medical bill, and the bigger one. I'll pay off the smaller one in the next 3 months, but the bigger one I'll probably default on at some point here. And he said, you know, you're intelligent. You should be able to figure out how to make money, which is true. With a high IQ, statistically, they have higher success rates in careers over the lifetime. But I've conflicts with my personality mostly that have limited me, or have limited myself essentially. And I had a different plan. I had a different plan, and I've executed it in that I tried to have unique experiences. I've tried to collect experiences, and I've tried to learn. I had a strong drive to learn the meaning of life, and there's a bunch of stories around that and everything. And, you know, I decided not to go to college. I went to Baker College for the EMT stuff to get closer to death and try to understand death and grief and all that, and I did. And then I tried to have adventures, because you can't just learn about the meaning of life out of books. You have to go out and do stuff and experience stuff, and I did that. And I had this whole thing. I remember talking to Chase one time about, at Baker College, I think, but a guy I went to high school with, about living life in reverse, essentially. So many people, they focus on school, and then they focus on next school, and then they focus on work, and they try to have a family and develop this career and make a bunch of money. And then after that's all done, then they try to like get a trailer and then travel the United States. And so that works for about 1% of the people that try to do it. But, you know, your health deteriorates, or the money doesn't come forth the way you thought it was going to. The plan just doesn't come together for various reasons. You die before you get to it. And I've seen a bunch of people do that. I've worked in a bunch of factories and stores and a bunch of different types of jobs, and I've seen a bunch of people not have that work out. So I wanted to do all these adventures and experiences first, and then focus on my career a little later. And I expected in my late 20s to be very focused on career, but well, I mean, right, it happened. So I had the huge health issues that a lot of people have at the end of their life. I mean, my health issues mimic a lot of things you would generally associate with old age. And then that led into my complete collapse in finances and ability to earn income. And so essentially what happens to most people when they do run that plan near the end of their life, and why it doesn't happen for them, happened for me. It just happened at a younger age. But I already had in all the crazy experiences and adventures, or a lot of them, right? I had a never-ending rotating, I had a rolling list that I kept developing. So I haven't wrestled alligators or swam with sharks or got a private pilot's license. There's a lot of stuff on the list. But I did a ton of stuff, which is great. But now I'm in this weird position of having not developed a career, having a significantly limited work capacity in quite a few different ways. And I mean, I've got myself in a bad situation. So I'm trying to puzzle my way out of it, which I should be able to do, and I'm trying to. So we'll see. I mean, thing is, you could say that it was the wrong decision to try to live life in reverse like that, or that's what I used to call it, and do all those adventures young, and it didn't work out for me very well at all. But you could say that it worked out really well, because I could be having these same health issues right about now. Maybe if I had lived a not quite as aggressive, adventurous life, I wouldn't have had the issues with my cervical spine for a couple more years. But we're a couple years later at this point, so I'd probably be happening like now. And then I wouldn't have gotten into adventures, and I wouldn't. Like, I can't. You know, I'm not going to do all the adventures I want to do now. I have to turn down rather mundane things. So, like, driving somewhere more than an hour is a major issue because of the impact on my neck. And I've offers to teach in Thailand and China and France, and offer to work at a retreat center in the Netherlands, and I had to turn all those down. Tons of stuff. So I'm not sure if it was a great plan or not. I did execute it, and it seems like you could make a debate about it either way. But now my priorities have to be tight, and the teaching online is one of the few jobs that really works out well for me, essentially, and it pays okay. I'm going to try to get paid more, but I don't really have any leverage to negotiate with, right? It's like, I wish you would pay me more, but if you don't, I'm going to keep working for you because I need to. So that doesn't really give you any ability to negotiate anything at all. But those, so income, health, and personality below that. IQ test for now, that'll be over in March, so that'll come off the priority list. And then writing, and then reading, and then, you know, other stuff. I tried to make up a schedule a couple of times about stuff I should do throughout the day, like hour by hour, and there ends up being more stuff in the schedule than I can actually get to fit in the time schedule. So that's not working out very well at all. And I really need to pull it together because I don't really have a choice in working these hours. I have to for the income. I really should probably switch over to third shift because I could pick up another shift at night, and then I could be working about well, somewhere between 9 and 12 hours a day, but I don't think that's tenable. I'm not even sure if this schedule is maintainable for me. I don't think that one would be maintainable at all. So I'm not doing that. Well, hopefully this will work or maintain at least for a while. So we shall see. And I mean, I'm hoping to transition in the writing stuff, but wow, I'm barely getting to that priority, and we'll see. Well, we'll see how it goes, right? The future is always uncertain. The future is always unknown. We wade into the unknown, which is a type of exploration in itself. And it's interesting. It's always interesting. That's for sure. All right. Anyways, I have to work in 4 minutes, so I probably won't even be able to upload this video in that amount of time. We'll see. I've had some internet connectivity issues too, which I basically have one internet provider as an option. So I called them, but I don't have any. I can't switch. So that's an issue because that affects my income as well, and just adds on to the fire a little bit, or the lack of fire puts out the fire a little bit. So hopefully that maintains. I'm going to basically ignore that as a problem and hope it goes away because I don't have too much influence over it. It's not really in my sphere of influence, and that's where I have to focus, is where I can influence things. Anyways, till next time.